Okay friends, one of the first things we need to do is safely raise and support the vehicle. After you've done that, remove your 5 lug nuts and then remove the wheel. Let's go ahead and spray down the rotor with some penetrant, and of course this mounting screw right there. At this point, let's continue on with a nice pry bar, come in between the caliper and the rotor itself, and we're just going to try to pry, and that's going to push back this caliper piston. Push it in all the way. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove our 2 caliper slider bolts. Remove your caliper and inspect around the piston area. You want to make sure that you don't see any fluid coming out. If you do, it's brake fluid, and if that's the case, you need a caliper. Hang that caliper so there's no way it can put any pressure on the flex hose. Out of here. Now it's going to be time to remove our caliper bracket bolts. There's our bracket. Let's remove that bolt. Remove your rotor. Now over on a bench, let's continue on by removing our caliper bracket tins. After you've done that, you want to remove your sliders. Usually you can give them a little twist. And then of course, if you were to break the boot free from the actual slider itself, you can remove them. At this point, what you would want to do is clean off any existing grease and of course clean the channel where the boot's supposed to ride so it's nice and free and clear, and then we'll continue. Something to pay attention to when you remove them, you want to pay attention to which one goes where, because one of them will have a nice rubber boot on it. I'm just going to use a little bit of parts cleaner, and then I'm going to use a bore brush and clean out this internal aspect. Alright, the next thing we need to do is clean up the areas where those tins are going to ride. You're going to notice here, across there, up there, over here, and there. Do the same on all 4 corners. Alright, now that we have those cleaned up, let's continue on by lubing our caliper sliders. You want to make sure you get the entire shaft of it, and then of course up and into this ridge right here. That's going to be super important to help keep moisture out. Slide it into its corresponding hole. And then of course give it a couple nice twists. That's going to help make sure that the grease is fully inside there. Do the same to both. Now that we have the slider pins in there, let's continue with the areas that the tins are going to be mounted onto. Now let's get our tins on here. Let's go ahead and clean up the mating surface on the hub. Once it's sanded, clean it down. Now we're just going to apply a thin coat of copper never seize, especially into that little mounting hole there. Clean down the braking surface on the rotor. Let's put the rotor on, and of course our mounting screw. Now it's going to be time to install our caliper bracket, and of course our 2 nice and clean bolts with some red thread locker. Start them in, bottom them out, and then we'll torque them to 111 foot-pounds. Now let's take a little bit of caliper grease, go right along this caliper piston here, essentially just lubricating the mating points between the caliper and of course the pad themselves. Okay, it's going to be time for the brake pads now. When we install these, you want to pay special attention to this right here. That's called your wear indicator. You want that to be on the inner pad, and you want it to be in the facing upward position. Go ahead and slide that in. Same for the outer pad. Slide it in. Grab your caliper, slide it right over those pads. Let's install our caliper slider bolts, and then torque them to 21 foot-pounds. Now we're going to install the wheel, start all the lug nuts, and then we'll torque them to 110 foot-pounds. torqued. Hey friends, so now all you got left is to do the other side of the car. After that, go ahead and pump up the brake, check your brake fluid, then take it for a road test.